what you want, when you want it, where you want it. This is The Mesh.
U.S. Health Advisors wants you to know your health coverage does not have to be complicated. If you aren't happy with your insurance plan, there are unlimited and comprehensive medical plan options available to you right now. U.S. Health Advisors offers solutions which can't be found anywhere else. They can even offer you the ability to purchase more coverage if and when you need it. U.S. Health Advisors offers fair rates and no surprises. Sounds nice, doesn't it? If you'd like to know more, contact U.S. Health Advisors at 828-554-3032 or by email at daniel.bryant@ushadvisors.com.
Welcome to the Street Circle Drive podcast here on the Mesh.tv. I am your co-host, Andrew Moose. With me, as always, Mr. Michael McNally.
Hello, hello.
How are you today, bud?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
I'm perfect. If I'd be any better,
I'd be twins.
Where'd that come from?
You said that at lunch, and I was like, that is an old school response, and I don't know where that came from.
The one I like to use is if I was any better, it'd be illegal.
Okay.
Ooh.
The other one, if I was any better, I'd be you.
That's right.
That's another good one.
Well,
or I like to say a multiple person. So, like, if Moose asks the question, he says, "How are you doing?" I'd like to say, "If I was any better, I'd be Michael."
Hey, there it is. And that voice you're hearing, Street Circle Drive listeners, is our guest today.
Our dear friend.
Our returning champion, best friend of the podcast. Yes. Mr. Mark Seaman. How are you, sir?
Gentlemen, if I was any better, it'd be illegal.
Great.
How we doing?
I'm perfect.
Where's the belt for the returning champion?
Excellent. The 9 o'clock shows.
The bell.
The bell is here.
Bell. I said belt.
Oh, bell. I thought you said bell.
For the returning champ.
I thought you said bell.
And this could be like Saturday Night Live, how they have the 5 Timers Club when they have the smoking jackets.
That's right.
Oh, nice.
Now you could be.
I'm a few away from that.
Is he the first?
He's the first returning champion. Yeah.
Wow.
We're first returner. All right.
There
That's
it
awesome.
is.
Different role, though.
That's
Different
awesome.
role.
Different role.
Different role.
That's right.
True.
That's
right.
True. So Street Circle Drive here is your Hickory-centric podcast for the people who love Hickory. I want to thank all of our listeners out there. We couldn't do this podcast without you, as well as our sponsor, U.S. Health Advisors. We appreciate Dan Bryant being on board. And if you or your company would like to sponsor our show or another show on the Mesh Network, visit www.themesh.tv/advertise or send an email to info@themesh.tv, and we would be happy to talk that over with you. It's a great way to reach a real targeted audience for low cost.
And another thing is not only sponsorships, but we do for our loyal listeners out there. We always do the food review.
We do.
We need some fresh ideas. Like if there's a spot you're curious about or haven't heard us review, we'd love the ideas. And if that place wants to sponsor us and kick in a lunch or an appetizer, we're down.
There it is. We'll do nothing but give you positive shine.
See, that's the thing. So then, can you be objective then if they're a sponsor?
Absolutely
do
not.
You write an objective review at that point?
No.
So your journalistic integrity.
No, my integrity
I have no
will be fine.
integrity, Mark. You should know that.
By then,
journalistic or otherwise.
Listen, I've already consumed it. I'm not giving it back.
That's right.
Now, if they don't ever want me to come back in their doors again, but it takes a lot. I mean, I like food. It takes a lot to kind of throw me off. Or things could always be better. I always give people a second try for the most part, but we haven't had many bad experiences. We're blessed with fine culinary arts here in the greater Hickory area.
You did have one bad one my first time here.
You were here for that was yours?
I didn't go with you guys.
That was your show, though?
That was my show.
Yes.
That was my show, yeah.
Oh,
Well, that was one.
That was one.
R.I.P.
Probably
Crazy
maybe
Girl.
the worst.
Yeah, it
Oh,
was.
to date.
Yeah, today.
Yeah, today.
R.I.P.
But
to
they've
the
changed.
Crazy Girl.
They've changed.
Yeah, they
hands.
did. They mixed it up.
They did. So Mark is joining us in a different capacity today. In the previous podcast, you came to us as the general manager of the Hickory Crawdads, and now you are the City of Hickory Recreation and Tourism Director. Congratulations. It's a new role
Thank
for you.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
It is. Brand new role.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing for the City of Hickory right now.
Well, it's a city job. I don't do much. I work on Tuesdays.
You stand out there and point at things for people to do?
I lean on the shovel Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I work on Tuesday. That's how we rotate it.
How did we get you here? Today's Tuesday.
Today's Tuesday.
Is this work?
This is work.
Representing
the city.
Carrying the banner for the city.
So I'll have to work tomorrow now. I'm leaning on the shovel today, so no. It's obviously The role was awesome opportunity. It's the Parks and Rec was already in place, and then the city added sports tourism. They really hadn't done much sports tourism in this area, so we're just kind of dipping our toe in the water and getting started. We actually were supposed to have a tournament last weekend, but with all the rain we got on Friday, we got rained out. Mm-hmm. So we actually have right now scheduled. Weather will affect it. Sometimes they don't get all the teams scheduled, things like that. We have scheduled right now about 35 tournaments, either girls softball, boys baseball, or adult softball. Through I think we're supposed to start yesterday through about the second week in November.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so we're just getting started with that, and we want to get into other areas too. It doesn't all have to be. It's not all going to be baseball, softball, and all that. Those are kind of like the low hanging fruit, so to speak. And then you get into we're talking about maybe doing a mountain bike race out at the trails they just built. We're just looking at all sorts of opportunities. We'd want to do some stuff on the water. Right now, we just don't have the access. You know, you've got it out there at Geithner Park, but that's starting to get all tore up with the Lackey Project and the Riverwalk and all that. So eventually,
I'm sure if you had an event out there, it'd be hard. Where are you going to put people?
Yeah, I mean, right now we're not really set up for it, but eventually you will be. Imagine once they do the bridges over 321, and if you had like a rowing event or something like that, then people could, because they're going to leave one of those bridges.
Yeah, for pedestrian.
So exactly. So then people could stand up on those bridges and watch the event, and then obviously when the Riverwalk and the Lackey Project and all that's done, so there'll be places you'll be able to view events like that. So that's something down the road. Obviously soccer and really just whatever, volleyball could be an option, cheerleading, any of those type of things. So we're trying to get started with it. Actually, there's 6 centers that we oversee, as well as there's 25 parks in the city of Hickory. And until I did this job, I had no idea there was 25 parks in the city of Hickory.
And so those are all City of Hickory parks?
All City of Hickory parks. On our end, we just do programming and oversee the centers. Public Services actually does all the maintenance, whether that's in the centers or the maintenance of the actual parks, mowing and planting and that type of thing. So, yeah, there's 25 in the city limits of Hickory.
Wow. With talks of adding more.
Yeah, with talks of doing some more. So there's, some of them are a little small, obviously. Some of them aren't, you might even drive by it and not even realize it's a park. But there's some big ones as well. You got Hickory City Park, JC Park, Geithner's. We talked about Glen Hilton. You name a couple. So that's kind of some of the different things we're trying to get into. And we got 12 part-time staff and 18 full-time staff.
Oh, man, yeah.
So like Highland Rec, there's a fitness center in there. You got basketball. That center opens at 5:30 in the morning and is open until 9 o'clock at night. And then we just started Sunday hours back in December. We're open 1 to 6 on Sundays now. This past Sunday, there was 200 people in there.
Oh, wow. So Sundays is a new – there weren't Sunday hours before.
Yep, they've never been open. The center's been open 16 years, and they've never had Sunday hours prior to this, just this past December. And that's
a great park. It's real visible.
It is.
And I never even knew some of the stuff there one time because somebody said, let's go play basketball outside there.
Yeah.
So there's outside courts. Obviously, you drive by and see the softball, baseball fields, but in the back, there's like a little skate park.
There's a skate park, which is actually closed right now for repairs.
Okay.
But we had somebody come up and look at it just on Friday to give us an estimate to get that back up and running because it really hasn't had a whole lot of repairs done to it in the last few years. So there's a picnic shelter you can rent. For family outings, birthday parties, whatever. There's a couple of playgrounds. There's a whole lot of things. And that's just one of them.
So when you have these big events, you're putting them, say for the baseball or softball, you're putting them at City of Hickory parks. Are there other entities or where? I mean, this is a lot of folks.
It is.
So,
it depends on the magnitude of what the event is. On our case, we have Highland, we have 3 fields, and we have 4 fields at Kiwanis. Those are the main ones that we use. JC you can use as well, but JC has a mound, so you can only use it for baseball. The rest of them, we use portable mounds for baseball. And then Kiwanis, the problem you run into is the summer, is because parking becomes an issue. Because you've got the all-kids playground, the Zara Baker playground, and then the splash pad. And so, on a Saturday in the summer in June, you really can only use 2 of the 4 fields because of parking. But those are the main places we play.
Yeah, and I guess other partnerships that we have, or do you have partnerships with other cities and parks, or with the
we're
county,
just really getting into that.
Okay,
like the group actually.
Oh, I know we've also had things with I guess at LR, like basketball tournaments and things that have taken place here in the past.
That's another element. There's the Hickory Metro Sports Commission that does a couple of events, which is the Great Smoky Shootout, which is a basketball tournament over Memorial Day weekend. and it brings in about 175 teams, ages about 7 to 18, boys and girls. You cannot get you definitely can't get a double hotel room.
Right.
There's some kings available when it comes because the teams want to stay in doubles and whatnot. You can't get a double hotel room in Hickory that weekend.
That's right. Well, is part of your new role as when you say the tourism part of your role, is that what they've tasked you with, is to get heads and beds to all that?
It is. There's two prongs to it. Obviously, there's heads and beds is a piece of it, and even day trippers to come in. And because if you come here and you're going to play a tournament in Highland all weekend, you've got your kids got to eat. There's a good chance you're going to have to get gas. You're going to have multiple meals. Plus, you're getting exposure to Hickory. Maybe you travel in from Greensboro, for instance. Maybe you've never been to Hickory before, so you're getting kind of a taste of what we have in the different areas. So there's a couple of different pieces. Heads and beds is certainly a big part of it, but even if you have day trippers, it's also a good piece of it. So we started last year. We brought in about 7 or 8 tournaments. Even at the end of last year, I started mid-June last year. So the window was kind of short, but we brought in a few tournaments even as early as last year.
I know the North Carolina Youth Soccer Association conference was this weekend at the Metro Center. My younger brother Justin is director of coaching at the Wilmington Hammerheads and or over a few of their age groups, and he said that place was just slam packed. So we definitely see that people are coming to Hickory for sports related events all the time. And it's just, do we have enough facilities to basically accommodate all these great events that you're trying to put on, or do we need to go ahead and just start building more? What's the plan?
Your question is no, we do not. We don't. I mean, to do everything that we want to do, we really, at some point, if that's something the city wants to do, is we need to look at investing in probably a multi-field complex as well as some type of an arena. Now, when I say arena, you can go a couple of different ways with that. Some places like Rock Hill just opened one. Spartanburg has one where you have 12, 16 basketball courts all under one roof. And you could play 16, 20 volleyball games all under one roof. Now Rock Hill that just opened theirs, they have that, plus they have like a mini, lack of a better way to put it, like a mini championship court that has seating and whatnot. So there could be some opportunities. I mean, I don't want anybody listening to misunderstand us here. It's not like any of this is on the drawing board or any of this is even close to being done. These are just all discussions.
And it's not always a public thing. Like the Spartanburg one you mentioned, or I'm assuming the one you're talking about is Upward Academy or the Upward Sports. So that was a private entity that was put together through that. I mean, a lot of people have seen Upward Sports, whether it's cheer, basketball, volleyball.
Is that a religious affiliation?
It started at First Baptist in downtown Spartanburg.
Okay.
It birthed the whole Upward Sports initiative. So then what they did is they went out. It's still in Spartanburg, but they built this phenomenal facility, and it's a coach's, they've got cross catwalk, coach walk upstairs. They can hold up to, like you say, somewhere in the neighborhood of a dozen basketball games, and 20 volleyball. Yeah. They've got rock climbing. They've got weights. They've got all sorts of things. But it really is a showcase. And outside, they've got multiple soccer fields and a championship soccer field with stands. And they've talked about adding lacrosse because they still have space out where that's located. But again, even when you sit there and say, there's nothing on the drawing board, we're not trying. Well, if a private entity wants to come in too, I'm sure that's something you guys would love to partner and work with.
We talk about public and private partnerships all the time on this podcast.
That
and
awesome.
that's something. And so, hey, if you're listening out there.
Yeah, if anybody's out there interested in sponsoring an arena, put your name on it.
That's
It'd be awesome. And then, if you do something close to LR? Would they be interested in maybe getting involved somehow with part of the partnership in terms of using it for basketball and different things? The convention center, it's full. I mean, they're just packing that thing out. But even beyond that, they can't do the ceiling isn't high enough, so they can't do cheerleading there. They can't do volleyball there. They're
going to pad the ceilings if they're going to do that.
That's right. That's exactly right. And so there's a lot of things you can't do there just because of ceiling height and whatnot.
Right.
So there's plenty of opportunities, and where Hickory is located. People want to drive. When these travel sports, most teams don't fly. Maybe one a year or something like that if they fly down to Disney or something for one big tournament. But you got to be able to drive to them. And right off 40.
I mean, the metro's within an hour and a half. I mean, you've got the upstate, Charlotte, Asheville, Winston. Greensboro. I mean, it is a great market locally, like centrally located.
Is. And if you're traveling for a tournament, would you rather come to Hickory, which is easy to get around, or try to go into Asheville or Charlotte, where you got traffic and all those type of things? And you're probably going to be a lot more spread out as well. Yeah. So we're set up for a lot of those things, and I think we're in a good spot. It's just a matter of getting our name out there and trying to get the spots that we need and utilize what we do have right now, and then showing that, hey, this is making a difference, and then continue to build off that.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier about how you had a tournament, that was affected by inclement weather. Would putting in artificial grass fields, help? Or, I mean, how far along is that? Is that in a plan, or?
We actually have.
I know, wasn't there one that's being built now?
There is one being built now,
yeah.
the Henry Fork.
Okay.
At the Henry Fork complex. One of those 8 soccer fields is turning into turf. It hopefully will be done by the end of February.
Right.
So, yeah, things like that. I don't know if I would do that with baseball in our situation.
Right.
Because I think if you have the proper maintenance and whatnot, your weather problems would be minimal. Mm-hmm. But I think with the soccer, it helps. Lacrosse, it helps because lacrosse is right up and down the middle. And so cross can do a lot of damage.
Sure.
And so turf certainly will help under those conditions. Soccer, with that complex we have at Henry Fork is incredible. And so that's something we need to utilize more. We need to get some more soccer events here as well.
I know CVYSA puts on, do you guys have a hand in that as well? They put on 2.
They have in May, they do the ComScope Cup, which they partner with the Tuesday Rotary Club to do that one. And then they do an Autumn Blast, which is in November.
Right.
So those are the only 2 real tournaments they put on right now.
Right. These are all classic teams, or is that all abilities?
I think it's all ages. It's all but I think it's all upper end teams.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool. So we ask most of our guests this question, and you kind of touched on it before. So if you had a magic wand and you could wave it and make your facilities whatever they want, or adding an arena or something like that, what is that? What is the magic? What would you do to change your role, to change the facilities here? If you did have that proverbial magic wand,
the arena would be the first thing.
Yeah,
the arena would be the first thing. Probably a multi-field, like 5-6 baseball field. Catawba Meadows out in Morganton, if anybody's been out there. I mean, something along those lines in terms of a field. And then water access.
Right.
Those would be my probably 3. And then, really, if you go into it, then probably mountain biking, trail running would probably be my 4th. We have some space, but it would be great if we had more of that.
Right. How does the bonds that are and the bond projects that are coming down the pipe right now? Are you going to have? I don't want to say jurisdiction, but do you have? Are you overseeing a lot of the events and things like that that's going to go into these projects, such as the Deidre Lackey Park? Are you going to be the one spearheading events there? Does that fall into your role?
Well, let me talk about all of them, I guess, at first.
Okay, sure, yeah.
Right now, they're overseeing like public services and certainly city manager's office. They're the ones really building them, overseeing getting them built. Once they're built, then it's going to fall on us.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get
do programming. So what that looks like, I think, is still pretty much still up in the air. And if people have ideas, we're certainly open to them. Do you, like on the Riverwalk, can you do early morning Saturday yoga? Or can you do dog training? Or do you do exercise classes on the city walk? Or do you put together bike races? That's another group I didn't. There's not only the mountain biking, but the street biking as well. There's a pretty big club here as well. So that's an opportunity. So I think it's how do we utilize once these amenities are put in place. The Lackey one's a little different,
right?
Just because they still have some control, and that'll kind of shake out how that works. So it'll be public services will oversee in terms of making sure they're clean and cut and look pretty, and then it'll be on our department to then try to program and get people there.
Gotcha.
And that's what we're trying to do now with a lot of our parks. We built some pickleball courts at Hickory Optimist Park not too long ago, outdoor courts, and we're probably not utilizing those as well as we should be. We need to do more better job programming to get people to those locations.
I missed something in life. I never heard of pickleball until a couple of years ago when I went to go visit a cousin. Have you played? Just short. tennis
played?
courts, right? No, what is
Moose,
it?
you ever played?
I haven't, but I have friends that
He's
do play
played with
pickleball.
pickle before, but he's never played pickleball.
No, I've never played pickleball. No.
Okay, we gotta get you guys out to play a little pickleball. It is a combination of tennis and badminton. Okay. It's a smaller court. It is more of a workout than you would think it is.
Right.
And it's used like a plastic wiffle ball.
Okay.
Is really with like a kind with the holes in it versus traditional wiffle ball, and then almost like a racquetball paddle, but it's a paddle, doesn't have strings. Okay. And there's certain rules of where you can hit it to begin with and things like that. But it's pretty neat. I've played a few times. It's pretty fun. So we got to get you guys over to Highland sometime. We'll pick us up a fourth. Yeah. And we'll play over at Highland.
I need to get a sweatband. I don't know if I'm ready for all that.
It's the sweat. I mean, it's a workout.
I've done racquetball before, and back when I was in shape, and it was a workout.
Not only it's maybe not quite as a workout as racquetball.
That wore me out.
It's not only obviously it was, I think, targeted seniors to begin with, but even folks that maybe if you don't get around quite as well, is not quite the running obviously that tennis has.
Because it's a smaller court.
Smaller court.
That's what I need. All the boxes
That's what I need
right now.
Yeah. It doesn't go as far, but your reaction time has got to be really quick.
Right. Expensive to get into? Can you rent rackets at Highland? You got to bring your own racket?
Pickleball?
Yeah.
It's $0.
$0?
$0.
Yeah.
When we play out there, we actually have paddles you can use.
Nice.
And have the balls. We have it all. So you can come out there. All
just
you got
to look up the rules.
Yep. And you don't even have to do that. If you show up, they'll tell you how to play the rules. Trust me.
Okay.
Trust me. They'll make sure you know the rules.
All right.
So it doesn't really cost you anything to get started, and you certainly can then go buy a paddle, and you can get a paddle for like $25 or $30 or something.
Nice.
So obviously it's like any other sport. I'm sure they get much higher end up, down the road. But
when we go pro, Moose.
When we're
the pickleball duo, the Olympics.
Take it on the road.
Yeah, there you go, man.
That's right.
2028.
We'll get you over there. We got to play some pickleball.
Yeah. So what's center that you said that's at the Highland Rec there?
It's at Highland Rec. Yeah.
Nice.
On Saturday mornings, they actually play on Monday, Wednesday, Friday mornings at 9. Now, most of us...
Well, you got plenty of time to do that.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Hope my bosses aren't listening. And then they play Saturdays at 9, and then Tuesday, Thursday evenings once the rec basketball season ends.
Gotcha.
Right now, their rec basketball takes up basically every night.
So you're talking about a lot of different programs you've got running, and I hear a lot that there's what are the things for the adults to do? We've got all kinds of programs for kids, but you're rattling off pickleball, adult softball. What other things do you have going on right now for adults to do?
We got industrial league basketball. We have open basketball a lot of times. There's a fitness center there. That's the one thing people don't know. The Highland Fitness Center, there is a cost to, but there's equipment.
It's a fraction.
Yeah, it's not very much at all. But then Neil Clark, Westmont, and Ridgeview have equipment as well, weights and equipment, and there's no cost to go work out at any of those facilities.
Just be a Hickory resident?
Just be a Hickory resident. That's all you got to do.
Yeah.
And then, there's those. There's really whatever. That's the one thing is we're trying to figure out is what do people want.
We got disc golf.
There's a disc golf course. We'll program whatever you want. If people want to say, hey, we want to do a ultimate frisbee, league, we would do it. We tried to get a kickball league going, and couldn't get much. Didn't get much traction with it. I think there is still, I don't know if we maybe did a good enough job reaching the right people, but I just think there's a lot of opportunities out there. It's a matter, we got to get people out. Everybody gets so busy, everybody's on their phones. In fairness, now you got kids doing this and doing that. So just time seems to be very precious for people. So it's hard to get them to commit to things. We talked about trying to do maybe some one-day tournaments.
Right. People
maybe don't want to commit to an 8-week schedule. Every Wednesday I got to be there. But, on maybe one Saturday, they'd be willing to, play a softball tournament or play a kickball tournament or, I don't know, whatever, wiffle ball, pickleball, whatever.
I think you hit it on the head is because, I've played in the adult softball leagues before. I played 3 or 4 years, and granted, it's super competitive, those things. Right. But it's very time consuming, and you're getting pulled away by a lot of other things. It's really hard to make it 2 nights a week for something like that.
Yeah.
So
And adult softball's dead in this area now.
yeah, is that right?
Yeah, we don't even have a league.
No kidding.
But there's not any interest in it.
Huh, no kidding.
Again, I think because of the commitment.
Yeah.
Time commitment. So that's what I think is.
Too busy carting our kids around to their softball and volleyball. I just signed one up for volleyball. I know softball's coming right around the corner for the other two.
Yeah.
So I think, maybe some one-day tournaments, or maybe if you can get them for like 2 weeks, where you do you say, okay, you're going to come this Tuesday, next Tuesday, you're going to play like 3 games this Tuesday and 3 games next Tuesday. And so your commitment isn't nearly as large.
That's right.
And I think in society, Jennifer and I are just as guilty as anybody else. Is like, make plans 2 weeks from now. I don't know how I'm going to feel 2 weeks from now.
Right.
It has nothing to do with the people you want to make plans with. You don't know. Maybe I have a bad day at work and I don't feel like going out. Now I'm committed.
Right. Yeah.
So we just, as a society, we just
We're
don't
just
want
like
to make
doing
plans.
stuff at this time of the year. I always feel like you go home, it's dark. It's like you feel like it's 10 o'clock, but it's only 5:30.
Yes. And I go, can I go to bed yet? Without acting like I'm 90 years old. You get up, you go to work, it's dark. You leave, but it's dark. You're like miserable.
Yep.
So again, baby, back to one day tournament. Maybe March. Like March. We were talking
Start picking
earlier
up,
at
you
lunch.
feel a little bit better. Yeah.
You March rolls around and maybe people, hey, I don't get out and do something on a Saturday.
Yep.
So I don't know. There's all sorts of things. We want people.
But you guys are willing to, if somebody's got ideas or
anything legal, we're willing to take a look at.
Good disclaimer.
Yeah. So let us know what you want.
Yeah.
We have the ability to basically program anything. We've got facilities. We've got fields and courts, and so people just have to know. Let us know what they want to do. What are they interested in? Yeah, and that's hard to find out sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of finding out, tell our listeners how they can find out more information about all the amenities the great City of Hickory has to offer, how to get in touch with you, all that good stuff.
They can go to the website, the City of Hickory website, and then obviously there's a whole tab there, page you can get to about all the recreation things. They certainly can call us at Highland Rec, or they call any of the rec centers, and they get all that information as well. So Facebook, obviously. We do post a lot of the things that we do up on Facebook, so there's all sorts of opportunities.
Awesome. Use that Google machine and find yourself something to do. Get outside and do something.
Come on now.
Get outside and do something.
Absolutely
Go
right.
play pickleball.
That's right. Come on.
I'm ready, man.
Let's do it.
I've heard about it, so now
We're going to set it. We're going to set a time. Well, you guys tell me when you want to play.
We need to go this afternoon and run off that Mexican food. That's what we need to do.
Let's do it.
But hey, McNally's got PE class coming up after this.
He does.
Bring your parent to PE day. I need to start stretching.
So are you going to wear, like, I know when I was in elementary school in PE class, you had like the shorts and the T-shirt you had to wear. That was
you went to like
school
a one-room schoolhouse too, so no, things have changed.
Are you going to wear? Do you got like
what
your
you're
shirt?
looking at is what I'm wearing.
Come on now.
Well, if I got too dressed up, the kids would be intimidated and not want to play anything.
Yeah, you can't stand
and then it
open
stands up on its own.
Yes, you take it home for your mom to wash.
When's
the last time you washed this?
I can still smell it.
Like a gym or just a locker room.
Is that mildew?
Team spirit.
The high school gym locker room.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Tough place to be.
No doubt. Well, I was trying to segue that, but now I didn't pick up the cue. So
no, I picked it up.
Oh, did you?
You talked about me stretching and how I get to go work it off at PE for the day. So yes, today's food extravaganza took us to Rancho Viejo on LR Boulevard.
Yes, it did.
Probably many listeners have already partook in a wonderful meal from Rancho. I know I've been there several times. Went a little different with what I've gotten there before, but a very traditional combination menu. I mean, they've got a pretty decent selection. I know a lot of times I've gone there and gotten the ACP with and even added chorizo, which is the only place I've done that before. So they're pretty accommodating to mixing some stuff up. I know they've changed it. This place used to bring out ranch and salsa with their chips.
Used to bring
and that
out
always
ranch.
freaked me out. I always thought that was so. They stopped doing that like a year ago. Thank
Ranch
goodness.
is like a universal concept.
Yeah, but on a chip,
Yeah.
But it was that.
has
it was
bounds.
Is ranch really
it had
bad
like
on anything?
No, but
I wouldn't put it on a chip with salsa.
But that Rancho, the stuff that they used to bring out at Rancho was sweet. It wasn't like
Yeah,
the
and you're right, it was.
savory-
Like the traditional
yeah, it was,
ranch.
Yeah, if you had to mix it up, but I digress. They don't do that anymore. In case you were totally anti-ranch on your chips, you don't have to worry about it. I wasn't a fan of that either. So we went today, and today I just kind of went on the combination menu. I got a chili relleno, a burrito, and an enchilada. So a pretty traditional typical combo.
Typical gringo lunch.
Right. I mean, if you're going, it was a $6 lunch. So first of all, there was plenty of food and I'm stuffed for $6.
Is today the lowest Street Circle Drive lunch you've had?
Ooh, that's a good question. It's got to be. It's got to be.
Got to be. This dude usually goes double entrees. Yeah.
I knew what you meant.
He gets there.
Well, but it's for the people, Mark. I just want to make sure I talk about a variety. I've been here before, so I can talk about my ACP with chorizo. Right. I can talk about a burrito. Yeah. And today I just went with a combo, mix it up a little bit.
What was your favorite part?
The burrito was awesome. I mean, it's kind of hard to mess up one of the simple combination burritos. It was just the beef and whatnot. I always get confused. We talked about this. I'd rather have a chili or poblano, which isn't the fried one. I mean, because even a person of my health habits, that's just too much fry on something.
Right, sure.
But you got me with meat and cheese. So it's still excellent. I enjoyed every bit. Let's put it this way: I didn't leave anything to be scraped into the trash can.
No, sir.
So I enjoyed it.
I was impressed you guys held it to one margarita each, one fishbowl margarita each. That was pretty impressive.
Well, when they're 24 ounce,
one there, and then you did have the one to go. So
the styrofoam cup just hides it better.
That's right. Mark, what'd you have, man?
I had a burrito. Talk about it. Mine was even more standard than yours. I had the combo as well. I had the burrito, the hard shell taco, and the soft shell taco.
Double taco.
So, yeah, it was double Taco Tuesday.
Taco Tuesday. It is.
Two tacos for Tuesday. So it was. I mean, they were on. I mean, it wasn't anything. It was traditional. It was good. I would certainly recommend it.
You don't want to say it's hard to mess it up, but they didn't mess it up.
They didn't. I mean, it was right on. It wasn't like it wasn't any kind of special sauce that made it any kind of different. I mean, I'm sure it's the same as multiple places you can go to, but it was great.
It's what you would expect, and I'm sure
it was exactly
a great price.
what I expected. Right? Yeah, the price was nothing.
Right.
And so it was really good. Chips were good. Salsa was good. Hot sauce was good.
Hot sauce was good.
Kept my water cup filled.
Yeah, they did that for sure.
They were on that. They were on us. I mean, I know I was late, held you guys up, but I think from the time I got there to the time we walked out of the door.
5 times?
I think 30 minutes.
Yeah. But 5 times filling up our water.
Yeah, 5 times filling up our water. That's exactly right. So, I mean, if you need a quick lunch, like I said, 30 minutes probably we were in and out of there.
It's the antithesis of McFly.
Oh, man. Yeah, we had a long one there.
We had a 2-hour lunch at McFly a couple weeks ago.
We could have done the pod there between.
Yeah. I had the chicken soup. It was great, man. And if you're thinking chicken soup at a Mexican restaurant,
I was.
Don't sleep on chicken soup at a Mexican restaurant.
Tell them one of the reasons you went for the chicken soup.
Okay. This is back up completely. One of my favorite restaurants in Hickory is El Paso.
I think all three of us.
Right. And
it's top notch.
Yeah. So I did feel like I was cheating a smidge today.
But you were also.
But I'm doing it for the people. That's right?
What I'm talking about.
So I just want to make sure that I'm
dating your mistress for the people.
That's right. Just for them. And my favorite dish at El Paso is the chicken soup. So apples to apples. Let's see how I like it. What's different? The soup at Rancho Viejo had more vegetables in it. It had cut up squash and zucchini, and it came with a side of avocado. Had a lot of chicken. Had some rice in there. The broth it was more of a tomato base, which I wasn't really keen on when I first got it, but the taste was good. It was there. I thought the amount of chicken they put in there was perfect. They shredded it up really nice. Not as flavorful, I don't think, as the El Paso's chicken soup, but it was less salty. Sometimes you get that chicken soup at El Paso, and it is kind of
delicious.
Salty. Yeah, it is freaking great. Yeah, it's great.
Sauce.
The chips at Rancho look like they were like. I think they were they hand cut and fried? Do you think
they might have been? They were flimsy. They were pretty greasy. They were a little broken. They were greasy.
Yeah,
their salsa's good.
Yeah, their salsa is really good. McNally,
their chips are chips. I thought they were fine.
we're here to break it down for people.
Their chips are fine.
So McNally, if you had to give it a score on the entire experience, food, ambiance, the multiple water trips.
I go 7.5.
Okay.
Speed, I'm sure, especially for a combo or whatnot, consistency. But of course, I'm comparing it to, especially for me, other Mexican restaurants that I go to frequently and enjoy. Rancho is a great option. It's a great opportunity for the cost and speed, especially at lunch. It was very good.
I'd say 8.
Yeah. 8?
Man, it was 8. I mean, it was exactly. I mean, you hit the nail
what
right
you
there. It
wanted.
was exactly what I was looking for. I mean, it was, everything you would want. It was quick. The price was right. It tasted like you thought it would. And I'll give you guys credit. You guys go out of your like I get what I want, like what I'm hungry for. But you guys will order something a little different so you can bring some knowledge to the people.
We're not
I
selfish.
do appreciate that.
You're welcome.
I do appreciate that.
We appreciate you appreciating us like that. I'll give it a solid 5.6 out of 7. It was, I know.
We're not going on a 10-point scale here.
I personally don't.
You were saying a 10-point
Because I'm American, and that's what you do, right?
So a 7.
He's a communist. But you know what's funny? He gave it the exact same score you did.
Basically,
I break out the calculator.
No, it was delicious. I thought the ambiance there, the only thing that brought my score down today was those loose benches that I bought broke my neck on.
That's a great point. Every time I go there, I feel like it's like an earthquake when somebody sits behind you.
Is this the big one? Is this the big one? Yeah, it does feel like an earthquake when you sat down. And McNally just got there, sat down, and the booth behind us was being seated. And
I think you were worried for me.
It took them a minute to get settled in.
They were getting adjusted very well.
Yeah, it took them a minute to get settled in. McNally, I know there is a big event coming up on Friday that has to do with food. Since we're talking about food anyway, let's go ahead and tell our listeners a little bit about that.
The spaghetti dinner at the Hickory Soup Kitchen, downtown Hickory. Tickets are $10. This is, I'm going to get the number wrong. This is around the 23rd annual Hickory Soup Kitchen Spaghetti Dinner. All proceeds go to the soup kitchen. So the board, usually all the food and everything's underwritten, volunteers working. You can get your food to go. You can eat there and enjoy the ambiance and fellowship with others. Usually, I mean, you're talking about 1,000 people, 800 to 1,000 people will go through and get their meals here that night. You guys
raise a bunch of money for that organization.
It's a great opportunity to raise some money. I want to say last year was around $10,000. So, again, all that money going straight to the soup kitchen. You can go the day of. Doors will open at 4:30. 4:30 till about 7:30, 8 o'clock. So you get spaghetti, choice of meat sauce or regular sauce. You get bread, salad. There's a dessert option, sweet tea, water, whatnot.
Perfect. Eat there or take it with you?
You can do either one.
Either one?
You can do either one. And right when you go to the door, you tell the folks there, and if it's to go, they load up the trays for you and go back and hand it to you in a bag and wish you on your way. But more than welcome to come and enjoy the soup kitchen. It's a phenomenal facility. If you haven't been in there, it's great to see what we have here and the amount of people that we serve and what that facility is able to do for the folks here in Hickory. So I encourage anybody that if you don't have Friday night plans or you want to get off pretending that you cooked a great homemade spaghetti meal, you can slide that into the house before.
You want to fake a first date out?
Exactly. There you go. So eat some good food and do something good for our community and join us on this Friday, January 31st, anytime between 4:30 and 8.
Awesome.
I've gotten it a few times. I give it a 10 out of 10 or a 7 out of 7 on a
7 out of 7.
Yeah. So, and you already bought tickets for this year?
Yeah, I already got tickets for this year. So it's definitely worth
Moose,
it.
I haven't sold you tickets yet. If you want some, let me know.
I'll buy a ticket for you. Where can people buy those tickets? Can they buy them at the door, buy them online?
So that you can buy them. You can show up at the door. So board members had tickets to go sell. So that's why I had some to pedal off and buy them for myself. But you can definitely show up the day of because whatever's not sold, there's enough food. I actually have to go today to start this evening. They started cooking the noodles yesterday. Then they refrigerate them and they steam them. I mean, you wouldn't know it. We start cooking the sauce and all the ingredients for the sauce tonight. So it's a big undertaking.
Yeah, but don't let it fool you. They're starting on Tuesday. It's really good.
That's why I say
don't
that.
Let that fool you.
I had no idea. I did noodles last year, and I was like, how does this stay fresh? And then they went through the whole process of how they steam them and what we do with them. And you kind of almost freeze it when you frost it down cold. And I was like, oh, is that right? But I thought last year's was better than the previous 5-6 years I've been. I mean, so it is very good. Austin at the Soup Kitchen, who we've had on the show before, and most people know he's just a great guy.
Best friend of the podcast.
He's managed kitchens before. This guy knows what he's doing. The staff there is phenomenal, and it's just a great opportunity to support those in need in the community. So I encourage anybody that's interested and available and Enjoy some good food and fellowship.
Go hungry to the Soup Kitchen at on January 31st at what you said
4:30 it starts.
It goes to 8.
Yeah.
So. Awesome. Tickets available online or McNally. You want to give out your cell phone number?
Yeah, it's 8675309, or you can just show up at the door. We'll make sure you get fed.
Gotcha. All right. So if you're in the area and want to support the Soup Kitchen on Friday, January the 31st, please stop by the Soup Kitchen. Also going on the Soup Kitchen on Saturdays, I also want to mention is the Hickory Farmers Market. It goes from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. every Saturday. There's a whole lot of music events going on at your local watering holes. Be sure to support local music. The Sales on the Square series starts in May, so be on the lookout for that. Also, another Hickory Downtown favorite event, Hickory Hops, is coming back again in April. Make sure you keep your eyes and ears open for those events coming at you for downtown. Gentlemen, thank you for your time today.
Mark, thank you for joining us.
I appreciate it, guys.
Pleasure.
Enjoyed it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's
Not
not a pleasure, but
I mean, we're
community service.
So I guess I have to get
point.
another job to come back again.
Yeah,
I have to change jobs.
Well,
again
then you can be
get a third
time
invite.
visitor, but repeats title. You never
that's
know.
true.
You're still going for first.
That's true. That's a good point.
That's right. You're a leader in the clubhouse right now. Well, to all of our Street Circle Drive listeners, thank you very much. We appreciate it. We couldn't do it without you. Be sure, if this is your first time listening to the podcast, go and subscribe and share this episode with all your friends. Go to the mesh.tv and check out all the other shows on our network. We'd really appreciate it. For Michael McNally, my name is Andrew Moose. Thank you for listening to The Mesh.
Love where you live.
You've been listening to The Mesh, an online media network of shows and programs ranging from business to arts, sports to entertainment, music to community. All programs are available on the website as well as through iTunes and YouTube. Check us out online at themesh.tv. Discover other network shows and give us feedback on what you just heard.